On drugs. Hey guys, I'm out and about again. Nearly home now. I was just on the phone, so I had to wait till I was done before I could do this. Something kind of weird happened while I was out today. So there's this guy, right, that I've spoken to a couple of times. He seemed nice, and he said something about, I don't know, something about how his kids know me and what have you. Hey, how have you been? I'm fine, thanks. How are you? Nice to see you on the stream again. Woohoo! Cool. Hopefully Sean and Issa and everyone will come on. But if not, I guess it's fine and you guys can watch it afterwards. But I was just saying that there's a guy and... oh, there's Sean. Hi, Sean. Just talking about you. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you on the stream. Yay. There's 2 electrical boxes here. 2 electrical boxes. I never noticed that before. There used to be 1. I've obviously installed another one. So he said his kids knew me, right? And he mentioned them by, because I said, who are your kids? And he said, I'm not going to say the names on here because I don't want them to come at me if they see this, because I don't know, they might be people who, you know, watch my YouTube channel and stuff. So I don't really want to say anything, like, I don't want to say anything bad about him because he seems like a really nice guy. And the kids are obviously, I don't know about the kids. Apparently they talk about me, but it's all good stuff. But yeah, he said something about how I know his kids, like we were friends or something. And he mentioned the names. And I didn't recognize the names at all as people I know. So I said, I don't know anybody by those names. And he said something like, sure you do. They used to come in your garden and talk to you and your mum and come in your house and stuff and used to play with them and stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't know anybody by those names who used to come in the house and the garden. So I think you'll find that it's a possibility. Again, I don't really want to accuse anyone. I'm just saying that it's like a theory because it's the only thing I can think of, because nobody by those names has ever sort of been invited in to actually be guests or friends in the house. So it seems more like it's a possibility that, you know, they were some of the, you know, the lovely kids that used to come in uninvited. And then what will happen is they will go back to their parents, possibly, if their parents are actually nice people and not as horrible as they are. Because with some of these hooligans, the parents are just as bad, if not worse. So if they have nice parents, but they're going around with the nasty kids, and because they might be nice, you know, but they've gotten in with a bad crowd, there's a possibility that they came in the garden uninvited, along with their hooligan mates, and then decided to go back to their parents and tell them that they were actually invited in and that we were friends or something. But that's not true, because I've not been friends with any of these people. So I know the names of everyone who, you know, was actually invited in, and those names were definitely not some of those people, you know. So that's why I think it's a possibility that they were being a little bit naughty, but then went back to their parents and said that we were actually friends or something. But anyway, so that guy raved about me when I last went in the shop, and he even bought me something, a gift of flowers. But the other day when I walked past him, it just kind of said hi in a not very enthusiastic voice. whereas normally we'd stop to chat. And today I went in and I'd just been in the shop, and I went into the takeaway, and there was a man and a woman in there, and they seemed very angry. I didn't really get like a good proper look at the guy, but from what I did see, because I kind of glanced at him and the woman, he kind of looked like him. But I don't want to say like for sure that it was him, but it was someone who looked possibly similar. And they seemed to be very angry. And they kept looking at me and then said stuff about somebody coming in the shop and recording or something. I don't know whether they mean, you know, that shop that they were in or a different shop. So I wasn't like 100% sure, but I think they were talking about me. They didn't sort of, like, I was expecting them to, you know, start having a go at me, or for the staff to have a go at me or something, because they were like saying that I did this and that I did that. Well, that didn't happen. I kind of just went in and got my food and left. And yeah, I think they were a possibility that they were talking about me. And they kept saying, like, I've got a good mind to tell management or something, complain to management, something like that. But like I say, they kept looking at me, so, and they kept going on about recording. And I'm the only one that I know of and have heard about, sort of, you know, that people go on about anyway, recording. But they said something about whoever it was, which we're assuming is me, sat there for 30 minutes or something and was recording. I don't know. But they didn't come at me, so I don't want to be like, I don't want to be one of those people who's like paranoid and just assume everything's about me and that everybody's out to get me. I don't want to be one of those people, you know, who has like a victim complex or whatever it is that people say. Because I know somebody said that about me on here, on my live stream, if you remember. Somebody came on here and said I have a victim complex or something. And then somebody else kind of said, well, I am a victim. And that's true. I have been a victim of a lot of harassment and bullying around this area. And I try, don't get me wrong, I try my best to sort of not assume that shit's about me. When people are saying stuff, or I see them like kind of looking at me and giggling and laughing, and if I see like kids that look like the hooligans, look like the type that have harassed me in the past, you know, you kind of can't help but maybe assume that they are, you know, part of them. But I try not to, you know. That's like, I try not to go there immediately. Like, immediately just assume that something's about me, or assume that they know me and that they're like the wolfy people or anything. But when you kind of hang around a bit and you hear certain keywords or buzzwords being thrown around, like recording, and how they're not happy about it, and this and that and the other, and, you know, it's something that people have, you know, keep going on about me doing, you know, it's kind of hard to not assume it's about you. So, yeah. So, because obviously I don't want to be in that like victim mindset all the time, but, you know, I'm going to do whatever it takes to like not think like that and not assume that everyone's out to get me. But yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes. But, you know, I mean, it's been a while since, touch wood, that, you know, anybody's been a pain in the ass. Where's wood? Up there. It's been like it's been a while, so I do get to a stage where I do feel a bit I don't know, confident that it's over and people are actually going to behave themselves around me now. When incidents don't happen for a while. But then usually what happens is it goes quiet for a little while, and then something will happen. But it's like, as the years have gone on, it's become like more few and far between now because I don't react to them. I pretty much just ignore them these days, rather than, you know, react to them. Because I used to react to them when anybody gave me a hard time. I used to, you know, I did used to react to them. Maybe I would get a little bit aggressive, but, you know, that was just me defending myself. But I don't do that anymore. I mean, it depends on the situation, obviously, but I try not to fuel the fire if somebody's already upset with me in some way. I think I have a right to defend myself, though, verbally, and obviously physically as well. If someone starts being verbal with me, I think I have the right to defend myself verbally and get aggressive if I have to. Because I used to get aggressive, and people used to say I shouldn't do that because it kind of encourages them or whatever, or that's what they want. They want you to get all upset and aggressive. But the reason why I used to get aggressive was to kind of show them that I wasn't scared of them, and I wasn't just going to be all quiet and shy and just kind of roll over and kowtow to them, you know. My comic's coming along pretty good, thank you. I have a little bit of a block right now, though, so I haven't done much with it for just a couple of nights. So I'll try and do at least one frame a night. At least one. Is it called frame or column? Yeah, I think it's a frame. Yeah, well, I've been trying to do it every night, and I think I've overall succeeded at doing it every night. But I have lots of ideas, so I shouldn't be paused for too long. I'll just read your thing. Oh, it was you. I liked your Valentine's Day outfit. I'm really glad you liked it. Oh no, yeah, I read that bit. There are just nasty people in the world that have nothing better to do than make fun of others. Yeah, but they're not just doing that. They're actually, what they've been doing, they used to make fun of me, I guess, but now it's like the past several years, especially the past 3 years, they've actively been trying to, like, get me on something, you know? So they can actually spread rumors about what a terrible person I am. Because obviously, if people were to ask them, like, you know, why do you harass this person? Why do you give them a hard time? They can't just say, oh, it's because they're weird and they dress weird and, you know, they think they're a wolf. Because that's what they used to say, you know, they used to say that I think I'm a wolf or something, and that's weird. And it's like, no, I don't think I'm a wolf, but I like to, I guess, pretend to be one, if you will, because it's fun. I like to, you know, sort of dress as one. I'm not delusional. I know that I'm a human. I don't think I'm a wolf. But I remember saying that several times in my live streams and videos. I don't remember, like I say, I passed them at some point last year. I think it was August or something. And I passed them. And he said that I think I'm a wolf. They were just talking to each other. Remember, I've got the video somewhere from months ago. And it actually says, they said, oh, that's Wolfie. She thinks she's a wolf. That's the one who thinks she's a wolf. And it's like I've said millions of times, I don't think I'm a wolf. I know I'm not a wolf. But I like to sort of, I can't even say live as a wolf because I don't really live as a wolf. I live as a human. If I lived as a wolf, I'd be living in the woods. But I could say just like living as a wolf, as in dressing like one and sometimes sort of acting like one, like growling and howling and stuff. But I just do it in the privacy of my own home, like you do, like everyone does, or should do anyway, because I get a lot of people who just come to me and start talking about their weirdnesses, if you will, and it's like, I'm a total stranger. Why are you sort of so open about your weirdnesses? like what they're into that's a bit different, and most people would think is weird. And yeah, I'm one of them. I'm open-minded and shit, but there are certain weirdnesses that even I don't like. So, oof. Yeah. So even I have my limits, you know. The only weirdnesses I'm really into is like dressing up as animals and in cool, unusual clothes, and role playing as other people or other animals and like other species, because we're animals, obviously. Humans are animals. Best thing to do is ignore them. They are not worth it. Don't lower yourself to their level, but defend yourself if you have to. So yeah, most of the time I will just ignore them. But yeah, it depends on the situation. But yeah, so my weirdnesses pretty much just end with just, I don't know, dressing up and sort of playing characters, I guess. I'd say like the whole being into fat, but I don't like to call that a weirdness. To me, that's not weird. That's just a preference for a specific body type. And most people would call it a kink or a fetish, but I'm not really sure it's a kink or a fetish to like, you know, bigger bodies. It's just a preference. Like some people like slim, some people like curvy, some people like skinny, some people like tall, some people like tattoos, some people like piercings, some people don't. Some people like curly hair, some people like blonde hair, some people like red hair, some people like brown hair. You know, it's just a preference, really. My love of fat bodies is more of a preference. Like I also have a preference for like blonde hair and blue eyes. And red hair. I love red hair. So it's more of a preference to bigger bodies, but I'd say the kink, if you want to talk about like it being a kink or a fetish, the place where it becomes like a kink or fetish, I guess, is, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example. I guess if it's to do with like, I don't know, like wanting a person to go from being slimmer to fat and maybe feeding them, or them, you know, eating more and getting fatter, and like sitting around and getting weighted on hand and foot. I don't know if you call that a kink or whatever, but you know, my sort of kink or fetish is to be like a big fat male character, usually in charge, usually a king, a pharaoh, or a big mafia boss. And obviously he would have lots of servants to do his bidding for him and bring him food, and he could just sit around and he'd have people to do everything for him, and he would treat them like crap. He would sort of insult them and treat them like lowly peasants. And I will admit, you know how people say that cartoons, you know, like are an influence on kids? That was definitely an influence on me, because there was a lot of cartoons that depicted exactly what I have just described. Not always necessarily a fat character, but sometimes it would be a fat character. But it would usually be some character that's in charge. Usually a bad guy, of course. So of course I always favoured not always, but I usually favoured the bad guys in cartoons and stuff, and live action kids things or whatever. I always favoured the bad guys because they were just a lot cooler, I don't know. And I like the fact that they would think they're all powerful and wonderful, and they'd have like goons or whatever that they'd treat like crap. And they'd call them, you blithering imbecile, or they'd call them like, you demented dumbbot, or you miserable mess of microchips. They might know what that's from. That was Dr. Robotnik. I can't remember what the episode of Sonic was, but it was pretty much an episode where Dr. Robotnik was like a pharaoh, however you pronounce it. I've always pronounced it pharaoh, but apparently it's pharaoh. So my bad. So Dr. Robotnik was a pharaoh, and he was fat, and he was showing off his big fat sexy body, and he was kind of lounging around in the desert, kind of watching his slaves like building him his monument, which was like the Sphinx but with his head on it. So, and there was pyramids and stuff, and he was just lounging around, and he had like servants feeding him and stuff, and it was brilliant. So that was definitely like, I'm not gonna say an influence, but it was like more like fuel, because I already had like, I was already like inclined to be into this stuff already. It's just that the cartoons didn't influence me as such, because, you know, we always say like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, nature versus nurture. And it's like, was this person naturally like this, or did their environment influence them? I think I was already predisposed to be into this stuff in the first place. So TV and cartoons just kind of, you know, sort of fueled the fire. I don't think that they directly influenced me, but it was nice to see that my fantasies were kind of depicted in a lot of cartoons. So a lot of what I watched was pretty much all of the things I was already kind of into. It surprises me now how much of that was in cartoons, especially if they think cartoons influence children to be bad or good. So if there's characters that are either bad or weak, you know, people worry that the kids are going to want to be like that because of a cartoon character. Like, for instance, a lot of people criticize the Disney princesses, worried that they're going to influence children. And I'm like, I don't think you have to worry. I don't think anyone wants to be like the Disney princesses. Let's go over real quick the Disney princess trope. The Disney princess trope is usually that they're trapped by somebody. They usually get trapped by somebody and enslaved by them, and, you know, forced to be a slave and do all the cooking and cleaning and serving, you know, whoever is their captive, whether it be evil step-parents or a witch or whatever. You know, it's pretty much every single, apart from in Aladdin. I mean, I've always liked the idea of what, you know, when I was, I guess before I discovered I wanted to be a boy, I always liked the idea of being a princess. But the actual Disney princesses and fairy tale princesses didn't influence me, because I wanted to be a Disney princess because they'd be like spoiled and pampered, and they'd have all like the best like luxuries and stuff, and have servants and stuff. But fairy tale princesses didn't have that. They were all treated like slaves, and they were all humble and kind. And like a lot of people would say, you know, they're kind of weak, kind of lame, because they were just meek and mild, and they just took the shit instead of trying to leave or, you know, like save themselves or be like, fuck you, whoever my captive is, I'm leaving. But I understand why they didn't. As some people, you know, because it's usually feminists that would say stuff like that. So the people who defended Disney princesses would say stuff like, well, you have to realise that these people, just like me in real life, because ironically I did end up having the life like a Disney princess, actually. As in, I'm kind of forced to be the slave by my evil stepmother, except it's my real mother, not stepmother. But yeah, ironically, I did end up having the life of a Disney princess. But yeah, in the defense of the Disney princesses and fairy tale princesses, that all these feminists object to, because they didn't sort of stand up for themselves and defend themselves and rescue themselves, and they had to rely on a man, which, by the way, is not true in a lot of them. Hello, Mama. Trying to make a video. Hello. You got cleanser, it's in there. It's in that box.
Oh, no, not one kind of cleanser.
Oh. What, you meant face cleanser? You've got a peppermint on the tray. Right there.
Oh, that's a peppermint.
Yep. That's if you did it in the right.
Oh.
Yes, you do. You have a...
Oh. It's food nearly ready.
Yeah, it's on the go.
Oh, yeah.
This on charge. Oh, something weird happened to me today. Once upon a time, I went into the takeaway place to get my food. And there was two people in there. And they seemed very angry. And they kept looking at me. And they were clearly talking about somebody recording. So I thought, oh, they're talking about me.
Oh, yeah.
But they were complaining to the staff. And of course I walk in and it's like, so maybe they didn't know who I was, but now they've pointed me out. So now I'm worried that they've badmouthed me to people who liked me.
That's it.
Minute.
Alan? And the next thing, as I open the doors, it's not just one or two of them. There's a whole gang of them in my garden giving me grief.
Well, did he call the police? And also, it's on camera, so that's good, right?
Well, yes, it. Oh God, never mind.
And besides, I would have been there.
You've no understanding.
Yes, I do.
You don't care enough.
Well, what did I do with it? She said she'll deal with it all from now on. Good. Oh, hi, Issa. Good to see you. My mum's moaning. Have a listen.
Person that's, you know, I mean, I was looking this time. There's little kids. And apparently they've been here before, haven't they? Obviously. They gave that away. Never mind, doesn't matter. As usual, the old person has to do all the work. Yeah, that's about right. Not fucking as long as it don't disturb her fucking sleep, ritual. It doesn't matter if I get stabbed to death. There's no consequence at all. No consequence. No consequence. Not fucking interested. Well, that's alright, neither will I be. She thinks that I'm going to be backing her up at any time in the future. She's got another thing coming. I've done all my stuff now. And this is the fucking thanks I get. Oh, it's okay, it's recorded. Oh yeah, I'm standing there, well, that's good. That's fantastic. Being beaten. Oh, that's alright. Fantastic. Well, fantastic. We have no idea at that point what age group these kids were and how many they were. No idea. Categories gone either side of the walls, left pressure on the dark way, and the questions more difficult. Pressure on the brain. Terry, choose a subject for Jim. History, please. History. Well, it doesn't prove that I need to get some more cameras. I need cameras at the side. Well, that's it. But the category's still there. Look at your monitors. All of you. Terry in particular. I did have an eye on it. That was after the signing of the Channel. Oh, I took the trees in. I didn't even see it. Hey. Hey. Wasn't there was a light on where you can have 100 quid you can tell me. I'm done now. I'm done. It's not. It's the Great Cross. It's Captain Cathedral. Here. Wayne, choose a subject for love. Places, please. Places we want. All you dark players love. Either side, the Cathedral and Cross. It's been done. I'm going to turn a blind eye. I just get disrespect when I used to do those. In memory of the husband of Queen Victoria. The Albert Museum. Oh, I need that's fine because you were there. The Albert was there. I mean, I mentioned it before. That's fine. Not building my own school now. That's no shit. Oh, Brian for Tony. Britain, please. Britain we like, Tony. Britain we like. It's effective. We've got you 50 quid there, Brian. For another 50, for £100. Which canal stretches across Scotland from Fort William on the west coast to Inverness on the east? The Grand Union. I can offer it. Well, there's no right answer. In fact, the answer is the Caledonian Canal. Which means at the end of that part of the game, you've got Terry and Jim with £100, Wayne and Law with £350, Brian and Tony £260. So Terry and Jim, we've got to say cheerio to you. Tony Green. Get off. That's real. 20. 20. 2060. Okay, Tony. 60 to me. 20. 20. Another 20. As far as you, 160. Thanks, Tony. Right, now there's a question both in this question. Don't press the button until you're sure you know the answer. Because if you stop speaking, as soon as you press your button. Here we go. Which is the lightest of all known gases? Right, helium. It's not. Wait. Gotta be worth a guess. What would have dropped off? There he was. Never mind. It's hydrogen. Never mind. Still the same score. 350 playing 260 back to 2. Well, so second round. Another 20. 60 again. Same again, 20. 20. 20. And 25. You're thinking 65. So it's the second round. Well, good data from there, isn't it? Brian, that's how the ball's got your question. Here we go. 65 pounds. Which French impressionist artist is particularly famous for his paintings of the ballet and ballet dance? Renoir. It's not. Is it worth a stab where you think? It's not. No, it wasn't. He couldn't dance either, could he? It was Degas. Never mind. 350, then 260, back to 200. Final round one. On this round. 20. 20. 60. 2045, so the final round to one. When, listen carefully, you through to the next round, whatever, this will just earn an extra 60 pounds. Which substance is sometimes added to toothpaste to combat tooth decay? Fluoride. Fluoride is right, makes it 410 pounds, playing 260, so we've got to say cheerio to Brian and Tony. Here you go, boys. There we are, the two bullies, not those that are confident. And 260 pounds, which I should count out now, it will take you 2 minutes. We'll see you after the break.
Oh, what are you doing? Oh, yes.
So it's £95.
Oh, no, we can't
And
do
you
that.
fancy treating the M&S Valentine's Dining Menu is here. Choose this king prawn and
What
lobster
did you do?
vertical to start. Then perhaps a 21-day egg steak. And maybe these mashed potatoes with a basil dressing. Finish with a white chocolate and raspberry mousse heart. Oh, and let's not forget the fizz. And that's dining in.
No, didn't even think it slept. Not a long time. Yeah. I've not had it.
All toothpaste is clean, but oral-free densify goes beyond clean. Over time, most people can experience tooth density loss. Oral-B works hard to prevent future density loss and strengthens teeth to extend the life of teeth. Go beyond clean with the toothpaste brand dentists use themselves. Oral-B Densify, brush like a pro. Can release your energy. It's releasing my pee, I'm worried about. That's my big pad showing. Then we're always discreet like me. Well, let's do with my legs. Hold on, watch this. Yep, it protects and it feels dry. Look at you. Okay.
with 20% off our fame.
No.
Our captivating viewers. Now, voting is here to celebrate our love of telly. Let's quiz. Quizzing about TV, on the TV, all the time. I'm joined by my two team captains, Josh Whittaker and Alison Hammond. If it works. I don't know what we're guessing. Don't you worry about it. Namby, does look like a bug at the top. What is the Peaky Blinders catchphrase? All the best. Yes. How sell this was a TV. Tune into the Black Mirror Wicked Smart TV, available 20th of February on Sky Max. The headlander, go fight for the world. Get caught up in the action this spring on Sky Cinema. Fantasy Football League is back. It's all kicking off again.
Is my mum moaning? What's she saying? What was she saying, guys? Sorry I had to leave you. I was getting changed for you. I'm not really done yet though, but I'll be with you guys in a minute, so don't go anywhere. But yeah, in the comment section, just let me know what was being said. What my mum said.
Right, okay. Oh, God. See.
You never think.
Familiar. Yeah.
And back to
Let's,
Europe.
let's find out. Because I need to start deleting the ones that
Special.
£10.
Tell us where the money's from. It's going to the children who want to go most. That's excellent. That will. I'll get a few bits off. This is the man you got it. We're delighted to hear it with a shout for that, Rich. Right. Always a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much indeed. Well, it's my pleasure. I'm sure you won't miss the last message. Fine. That's fine. Good man. Thanks. Well, your grand hospital is going to get a lot of goodies with that money that's in our message from the £10. We hope you can get a lot of goodies here from Police Prize Board. Red segments and black segments. Red segments are the ones we're in. Listen to this. Well, you'll soon get the picture. Really enjoy it on this
See,
quality.
that's not good, is it?
Serve sparkling craftsmanship in these crystal whiskey glasses and decanter. 3. You can go walkabout and never miss a call. This handy corner.
See, now, this particular one is no 10 o'clock one. Right. So which is the one that's on 40p program? Isn't it? So do that one. I found out. Ah.
I don't really get what they get out of that.
Transforms.
Only TV sounds. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. I guess everybody's left now, probably. So, this is my outfit for today. My tail is here. 1 second. I didn't really go out in this because it's too cold, but this is what I'm wearing now, you might say. Still here. I'm glad. And I've got everybody's favourite paws. Mew, mew, mew. Guess you might say this is more like my mafia boss look. So I've got my tuxedo crop top with sort of a built-in waistcoat type thing, which is kind of drooping. I need to kind of tighten it. I don't know how it's gotten so loose, but yeah, it needs to be tightened. And I've put this on because it's cold. Hang on, let me I'll turn the heating on so I can be warm. Right, so now hopefully uninterrupted, I can finish my story now. So I'm really sorry, guys. Probably everybody's gone now, which is a shame. It's dead sad, but hopefully they will come back and watch the rest of it. And I will do one of those like 5-minute highlight things. If I can figure out how to do it, because all these button things have changed now, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But anyway, as you can see, my eczema's cleared up a bit. It's not perfect, but it's cleared up. It feels and looks a lot better than it did before, so thumbs up. So yeah, basically the Disney princesses I was talking about, and how, yes, they did influence me as a child, but not in the way you think. And it probably don't influence a lot of kids the way that people think. And that is everybody, all these kids that watch it want to be like them and think, oh yeah, I'm just going to wait around for a man to come and rescue me. I'm going to wait around for my prince to come. With me, it influenced me like in the way of, I don't want to be like them. You know, I don't want to be weak and sort of be trapped in a servitude position. Because that's pretty much most of the Disney princess tropes, is that they're all captured by somebody and they're forced into slavery and what have you. But that didn't influence me at all. I mean, ironically, like I said, I have ended up in that situation. I have pretty much ended up in a situation where I'm kind of trapped in servitude by an evil step-parent or whatever. I'm forced to do all the chores. So I kind of have ended up like Cinderella a little bit. A little bit like Rapunzel, kind of trapped in a tower by my kind of mother. Well, the witch did end up being like the mother, didn't she? So the actual mother wasn't much better than the witch. So this poor girl did have quite the shit start. But yeah, kind of ended up like that. I ended up in that position anyway. But it's not because I was influenced by these people. I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe it did somehow indirectly make it happen. I don't know. But yeah, I was never really influenced by them. Like, oh, I want to be like them. I was only ever really influenced by characters that really impressed me. So that was usually bad guys. Not in Disney, actually. In other cartoons, like Care Bears and Sonic, apparently. So, yeah. Oh, My Little Pony. There was this character. She was this big fat pig princess, spoilt princess, and she lived in this. It was quite a gloomy-looking grey castle. It looked like a big cave with like mountains and shit. I don't know that you guys will know this episode of My Little Pony, but it was like, yeah, this big fat pig princess. She was a pig and she was dead fat. and she wanted to kidnap My Little Pony so she could shave off their hair and make them into a new cape so she can magic the world into mirrors because she was a vain son of a bitch. So yeah, if you guys know the name of that episode, because I'd really like to see it again. Plus I would actually really like to see part 2 because I never actually got to see part 2 because it was a two-parter, and on the video it said like to be continued at the end, but the next episode wasn't the part 2, it was a completely different episode. So if any of you guys know like the name of the episode, it was about this particular, the main character was pretty much this character that felt dead sorry for herself and everything she did was wrong and she couldn't find like her place within the My Little Pony community, and I'm assuming she ends up saving the day and presuming that's what part 2 is going to be. But yeah, if you know the episode, you had these 2 or 3 goons that kind of kidnapped the ponies. But yeah, that definitely influenced me. That character I liked because she was dead big and fat and spoiled and kind of evil, so I liked her. Bushy Tail. Hi, another great outfit. How are you tonight? I'm pretty good, thanks. I feel better now. Having to do dinner, so yeah, if I have to keep popping in and out of the frame, please forgive me. But yeah, that was part of it. So yeah, so cartoons kind of, I'm not going to say they influenced me. I was already a certain way. I was already into certain things. But the cartoons kind of, these things in cartoons, so usually not the main characters or main plots, but like usually the bad guy plots influenced me more. But they would more like fuel the fantasies or fetishes or kinks or whatever, rather than be the direct cause of why I'm into that stuff. So yeah, I strongly believe in nature anyway versus nurture. Obviously nurture can play a big part in how someone turns out, thinks and behaves, but I definitely feel that ultimately their brain was already a certain way to make them like evil or into certain kinks, like they were genetically predispositioned to be into a certain thing. Like me with fat people, I feel like I was just born that way. I was just born liking fat people because I liked fat people for as long as I can remember. I don't remember a certain point where I was like, oh yeah, I like fat people now because I saw this on telly or whatever, this character. It was like I just remember, you know, as a kid, I'd go out and about seeing fat people. Go out and about to the swimming baths and see fat people in, you know, like swimming. You know, people didn't wear bikinis back then, people wore swimming costumes. They covered up. So yeah, I used to see fat women in particular are the ones I noticed that would be fat when I was either out and about or in the swimming baths in bikinis. And I noticed that I was like, whoa, they look amazing. And I would look at skinny people and I'd be like, ew, oh my god. And I was one of them, unfortunately. So I'd look in the mirror and I was like, oh my god, ew. So I would always be covered up all the time because I was dead skinny. And I hated it. I was so ashamed of being skinny that I would just be like covered up, and I would avoid mirrors. I avoided mirrors like the plague when I think I was about, I don't know, I first kind of looked at myself naked, because I never really looked at myself naked as a kid, but I remember the first time I looked at myself naked as a kid, and I'd kind of developed a bit. I think I was 10 or 11 or something, and I remember being like, ugh. Not just the skinniness, but like the fact that I looked like a woman, and my boobs were developed and I had the shape now. Because I was aware that I had like a child's body before, even though I never really looked at myself in the mirror. But then, like I say, when I saw the change in the mirror, I was like, oh my god, this is disgusting. I was like, shit, I'm watching porn. I was like, shit, I'm watching porn. Right, I'm gonna put the fish in, just don't go anywhere, okay? Don't go anywhere.
What's that smell? Oh my god.
to stay on the floor until I'm... I was really hoping I can carry all this in, but apparently not. I was like, oh my god! Who are you? Yeah, I was actually... It's funny, because I was pretty much offended by my own body. It was like, ew, what the hell is that? That's not me. And 11 was around the time when I discovered I felt like I should be male, so I guess I, you know, also thought it was wrong that I should have a woman's body as well. Do you know, I was always dead comfortable in my child's body. I always was so happy with my child's body. It always seemed so inoffensive to me and comfortable, and my chest the same, being flat. So I remember being dead happy. But then when I started to change, and I started to develop boobs, it was like, ew, who's this person? I don't recognise this person. It looks like one of the porn stars from the magazines, you know, the dirty magazines my dad left behind. My mum was plotting how to get rid of them without people like knowing that it'd come from this property, because she was worried that, you know, people, whoever collected the rubbish, would think that these magazines were hers, and she didn't want that. So she was trying to get rid of them discreetly, so she kept them for a while, obviously trying to figure out how to get rid of the dirty magazines without, you know, people knowing it was coming from this property. And I was like, you do realise that anybody, like bin men or whatever, whoever sees the recycling, because yeah, people recycled back then, anybody who discovered this would automatically assume it was the husband's. Even if the husband no longer lives there, they would automatically assume that it's the husband's. They wouldn't assume it was you, Mum, that has these dirty magazines. Why would she have them? And by the way, can I ask you something? How come there's no dirty magazines of men? Sexist. Sexist. Which brings me to my next point. But yeah, that's some of my history anyway. Ooh, I could relate to that. My body was starting to develop a more feminine shape due to the genetics in my family giving the wide hips. And I used to hate it along with my chest and thighs and legs. But now I love my body shape. What do you mean? Do you mean you were a girl and you didn't like how your body was shaping up with puberty? Or were you saying you were a more curvy man? I am confused because I thought you were a guy, so I just kind of assumed. I don't know. I can't say I'm 100% happy with my body. I've struggled with my body image for a long time. First of all, it was being too skinny. I was very self-conscious about being skinny. Nobody ever teased me or bullied me, by the way, about my body. It was just my own personal, because I was never influenced by other people like bullying me or whatever, or saying this is wrong or that's wrong or whatever. Or you should look this way and you should look that way, and you know, like skinny's good and fat's bad. Like, I was never influenced by any of that. It was all about how I wanted to look. So I didn't like the fact that I was skinny. I didn't like the way I looked. And I didn't like the way anybody looked skinny. I just thought they all looked, like I say, weak and puny and inferior and stuff. And that's how I perceived myself looks-wise. So I used to desperately try and gain weight. But unfortunately, I didn't realise as a kid, because at the same time, I also didn't like my boobs. But I guess it didn't even occur to me that my boobs would also get, like, big as well. I didn't know how my body would look bigger. But then my body kind of got, like, worse, if you will. Like, where I was still, like, dead top heavy, and I didn't like that. I was curvy for a guy before I accepted I didn't identify as male. Okay. So now you just identify as a guy that's pear-shaped? Because I love pear-shaped guys and curvy and fat guys. I really like a guy that has like big hips and thighs and bum, and then a big flabby overhanging belly. I really like that. Big and wobbly and ripply and stuff. That's how I want to look. I didn't care much as a kid, I just wanted to be fat. I didn't really care much about the shape. But as I got older, I realised I wanted to be like more bottom heavy. Mainly because I wanted to be a guy as well, so, you know. The fact that I was fat and I also had a massive chest, you know, didn't suit me. So yeah, it was hard growing up in the wrong body, if you will. I thought at least if I had a more, like I say, a flatter chest, I would have been happy with that. To be honest with you, I didn't really care about the rest of my body, like the way it looked. I was more concerned about, yes, I wanted bigger hips and thighs and butt. I thought, you know, if I can't have that, I at least want a flat chest, if nothing else. So at least I'd be flat all over, instead of just like big on top and then like nothing down here. But unfortunately, I don't think there's anything I can do apart from having surgery to change how I look. I feel like even if I did a bunch of exercises to make my butt bigger and stuff, I feel like it wouldn't be big enough to kind of contrast, I don't know, to thingy the contrast. I've got loads of pictures over the years of me at different sizes. Pictures of sort of me sort of stood sideways. And yeah, it's quite evident that I was always just top heavy no matter what size I was. My chest always seemed to stick out, and then I'd have like virtually no bum and legs. Like it'd just be like nothing. And I was always self-conscious of that and thought it looked horrible. And now of course it's worse because I've gotten bigger. So now my chest is even more bloody exaggerated. It sucks. I didn't really know what to do about it apart from have surgery. Either surgery to make my bum bigger or make my chest smaller or both. So yeah, it can be kind of hard when there's nothing you can do. I'm just too chicken to get surgery. Plus I don't have the money anyway. Unless I can convince them to let me have it on the NHS for free. Because I do believe that if you are not happy with your body, you know, they will sort of do the surgery for free because it's, you know, because it's giving you mental health issues like depression or something, looking a certain way. And the only way to make you happy and better is to give you the surgery, so they'll give it to you on the NHS, that sort of thing. But I've noticed there is a lot of, on, I don't know, YouTube, loads of social media. I've noticed there's quite a few trans males that are kind of advertising like a GoFundMe or something to raise money so that they can have top surgery, as in have their breasts removed or reduced. But I'm not sure if anybody would want to raise money for that for me. I can't believe so many of them do it, and so many actually have fans that do it. But it would be nice to think that I could have that too. And I've tried raising money for various things that I want on here, and it doesn't quite work out. So that's quite disappointing. The main one is raising money so I can move out and get my Jeremiah's Story project off the ground. And, you know, it'd be for you guys' benefit as well, because it will have like, it'll definitely have weight gain and fat themes, you know. Lovely fat fetish stuff in it.
Now, don't forget that throughout the series, Jeremiah will gain weight due to him being lazy and spoilt and, you know, totally evil. He makes his, you know, wife and servants and everything, you know, bring him lots of food, and he just lazes around all day. Gets fat. And loads of other stuff too in there. Be lots of themes. But yeah, it would be nice to raise money for that. I've had to put that load of...
Sorry, it's gone cold again.
It's always going cold. Awesome. It was just me.
I can just go fix, put them away.
What? Oh. Alright, okay.
Whatever it's called.
Oh, that's
Look
what I...
like cucumbers. Oh, yeah. Oh, I need a Thursday recipe.
What we having for tomorrow's dinner?
Well, there's one similar to what you know with us. It's called a mushroom steak stroganoff. You're always saying not to get rid of mushrooms.
Right.
That's wine, but that's dark wine. With stock and cream. Have you got any cream?
I got cream, yeah. That's another thing I need to get rid of because we don't really have enough cream.
So it's mushroom steak stroganoff. If you need to know, it'll be written on there, look, mushroom steak stroganoff from part 2 for Saturday.
Okay, so what's Thursday then for part 2 for Sunday? Or we could just have the pizza and chips on Saturday so that that's covered. That would replace the curry.
Yeah, but what we're having Friday, we always have chips on Friday.
Yeah, but it's still different.
Well, I'm not having 2 lots of chips, am I? I struggle enough with the day, you know, after having the night and day after having the ones on Friday.
Yeah, I'm going to need right.
So anyway, there's 2 different types of one must be without steak. What's this one then? That's the one you normally do, isn't it? That one, creamy mushroom stroganoff. Isn't that the one you normally do?
Yeah. Now you don't.
I suppose you could do a basic. A basic. Are you there? Oh.
Yeah, I just got to make sure I get everything
A
for these
basic
meals
was-
because I'm going. Oh, basic.
A basic with spaghetti if you want me to say.
Yeah, for Thursday. All right then, I'll do that.
Alright.
It
And I
is.
don't mind that, because you're now doing it with juice, I don't mind having spaghetti.
Juice.
Um,
Yeah, it's much better now, isn't it?
yeah,
You know what the smell then.
so I'll just put because this time can have a sausage sandwich, so basic's perfect. Isn't it? Did you hear that? Hello? It's on again. Oh, I shut the door, didn't realise. Yes, I'm coming. I'm saying the basic's perfect for Sunday because then I can have my thingy butties.
Yeah, brilliant. I can't wait for those myself.
Where have you got that from?
This.
Mm.
Out there.
Oh, don't because it looks like...
Yeah, I was just using it for out the back because my
Oh,
phone
right, wasn't it?
was
Yeah,
on
try not
charge.
to use that one there. What I'm saying is, you see that one under there?
Uh-huh.
Try not to use that because you have to put it on in a certain way so it's flat.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I do. I use this one if I need it. That's what I do.
Mew.
It's looking a bit dull though,
Mew.
so I'll charge it up. It'll start looking a bit dull.
Mew. After I've done with this stream, I'll make a video of me in this outfit. But it'll be brighter. That was looking a bit dull as well. It's nice that you've got a belly, by the way. That sounds great. Sorry about the dull wellies. What's that down there? Silly, I got shoes that might go with these a bit better. My feet are freezing because although it's carpet, it's only a thin carpet and underneath is concrete, so. Sorry about all the interruptions. Phew. I do like a big belly. Is it flabby at all?
Well, not used to that. What do you think?
Oh, I don't like those.
Yeah, but they're not meant for in here. They're not really meant for in here. But as a temporary measure until that one's...
Alright, just
I was going
like...
to say heated up. But I know, charged up.
I hate
You're not going to
these.
be staring directly at it. Your eyes down and...
I know, but if I forget, I might look up and...
Oh, don't. It's only a temporary measure, Chris. I can't do anything with
Okay.
Well,
they're kind of cute though, aren't they?
I can't do anything with them.
I know. Catwalk time.
The hands are just as it needs to now.
Yeah, I know, it's just temporary.
You go round and go down.
Because I don't really like solid bellies as much. Milk. I can't have too much milk. It gives me softer stools. Oh, sorry about the too much information. Only if it's like a lot of milk, if I have like full fat milk. I can have skimmed milk, I guess, and I just have it in tea and coffee and stuff. Seems to be alright then. My mum's doing stuff. What's that? Oh yeah, you can probably see the reflection. Yeah, you can see the reflection of the light. And
What the hell's this to? Don't know, it looks like it belongs to something. I'm not sure what. What on earth am I kicking now? Oh, I grabbed that lights. See all that them lights there?
Yeah.
Grabbed them all the way to the kitchen.
That's hilarious.
What the hell is it? Oh, I don't know. What, you doing it again? I've tidied this up. No point me tidying and then you. And you mucking it up again. Come on. And when can I wash the hair? Because I've not got a towel. You're out and about, you need to get by me a towel. Things.
That's good, that's good.
Things are all dirty and I need some heat.
A tool.
That kind of thing.
A tool. Oh, you got the heat, I've done the heat.
Unfortunately, you've got one of these. You need to go into that room there.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. Thank you.
Better than now, and
It
to
is.
be honest with you, I thought you had a choice. I got the wrong ones again.
Oh, right. Okay, so you meant to get the warm white. Yeah, that's what I just said, warm white. See how nice she's being? I've got videos of her being awful. It's a shame I can't show you guys. Well, there is one I can show you, but the other one I can't. But I will do at some point. As you can see, she's being dead nice and not being like super nasty. And it's all just because I threatened to move out 2 years ago. It doesn't feel like 2 years ago. It was like the end of 2022, so. But I do have videos of the conversations, like leading up to all. I was wondering if I should make like a separate channel just about that stuff, or whether just add it on here and just have a playlist of it. So I did make a playlist of it, like where it's just of like my mum having a go at me and like how she treats me and kind of leading up to now. So I will give you like a breakdown of the timeline, and that is, so she was pretty much giving me a load of grief in 2022 of various things, usually because she had breathing problems and she was blaming me for various things. And then I decided to, because a lot of the times when we kind of argue or whatever, more like, and we don't argue, I mean, she mainly just starts having a go at me, and then obviously I will sort of say something back, but not usually in an aggressive way or a nasty way. I'm usually just talking, like, just normal talking. Usually, like, I can be completely silent, say nothing or the slightest thing, and she'll just go off on one. So when she starts having a go at me, and I sort of complain about something, she will say stuff like, well, if you don't like it, then you can move out. And this was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago and stuff. But then the end of 2022, when she said that for the final time, I decided to call her bluff and say, oh, all right then. I will, leave home then. Because I'd rather leave home and put up with this and live the life I want to live. In fact, in one of the videos, the ones I can't show you, but is actually quite crucial and I want to show you, are the ones in which we were talking about my ideal life, which was sleeping and meditating all day or something. Or, sleeping all night, meditating all day, and having someone to cook and clean for me so that I can just do that. And she said, well, all right, well, yeah, so it does sound like a great life. And if you want to, I said, yeah, it does, I want to do that, yeah. Well, and she was like, well, if you want to do that, then you have to live somewhere else. You can't live here. So I was like, oh man. So I didn't really call her bluff at that point. Basically, she said if I want to do pretty much live whatever life I want to live in whatever way, like what not a normal grown-ups would do. You know, they would live their own life, not their parents' lives. They wouldn't be living for the parents' lives. They would sort of, you know. But mine is if I want to do that, then I can't live here. I've got to move out, you know. So she used to threaten that. So it's basically I can live here, but I have to be her carer. If I want to stop being her carer and live my own life and do what I want to do and have a social life and date and go wherever I want to go, then I have to do it somewhere else. I can't live here. Was pretty much the consensus of a lot of things she would say. But yeah, I decided one day to call her bluff. And that was fun. I mean, it wasn't fun. It was like sarcasm. Because she was a nightmare after I actually called her bluff. Because I guess she panicked, but she got even more like guilt trippy and nasty. And it's all in like the videos that I made of that. But you know, it was a specific because I actually made a voice recording of when we were having that conversation about where I called her bluff about moving out. I think that was like September of 2022. And I basically said, oh, okay, then I will do. And then she kind of, later on, she was sort of like, and where are you gonna live? And what are you gonna do for money? And this, that, the other. And I said, well, I'm entitled to, you know, this benefit and that benefit and the other and stuff, I said. And she's like, oh, right, so yeah, all right, so you're okay for money then? Because this was her kind of like, I don't know, scaremongering me into staying, which was basically, and what are you going to do for money? She wasn't genuinely curious what I would do for money. It was more like, oh, what are you going to do for money then? You can't do anything, you'll have no money, so, you know, that sort of, it was more like that sort of attitude. And the same with the, you know, where you're going to live thing as well. It was more like kind of pointing out that, you know, I don't have anywhere to live. You're like, where are you going to live? Like, again, more scaremongering. Like, you don't have a place. You don't really have a place to live, so where are you going to live? So basically I told her, because I had somebody offering me a place to stay. So I said, I'll live there. And she was like, oh, she was again like this sort of passive-aggressive, sarcastic way, all right, so you're okay for money, you're okay for a place to live, and like that. And then she was like, afterwards, she was sort of like becoming like dead erratic and saying, right. Well, I guess I'm gonna die then. She said, my mum died at 70. And, you know, she had to do everything all by herself with health issues and breathing problems and disablement and stuff. So she was worried that she's going to die at 70. She still says it today. And then after that, it was pretty much, she threatened to kill herself. She said she's going to kill herself if I move out, basically. Thought, great. So now I've got that on my conscience as well. That she's going to kill herself if I leave home. And she was constantly talking about it. And she went on about like not having anything to live for if I leave. So she's going to kill herself. So, and I don't know how we got onto it, but she was like, what do you think all those painkillers were for then that I've been storing up? You know, she'd been sort of ordering extra. It never even occurred to me, like, why she was... I thought, because she told me that she wanted all those painkillers because she was, you know, like, saving them up so she never ran out and was never in dire straits where she'd run out of painkillers and, you know, would be in, like, a lot of pain. So, that's what I thought. But she basically admitted that she was saving all these painkillers up for after I leave so that she could overdose on them or something. Oh, that's terrible. That's like the worst guilt trip of all. Like, there was already loads of guilt trips. Like, she was probably going to die of, like, not going to be able to take care of herself. Like, you know, just die because she was here alone and couldn't manage by herself. But now she's talking about deliberately topping herself. And I thought that was, you know, a bit rubbish of a thing to put on your kid. So I remember I confronted her about that and I said, you know what? I said, this whole threatening to kill yourself if I leave, it's kind of like putting the onus on me that basically if I leave, I'm killing my mother. And that's kind of abusive. That's like emotional manipulation, emotional blackmail virtually. So she said, oh, all right, I won't then. I don't know. I actually don't know what she would do because she keeps saying different things. I actually don't know what would happen if I left because, like, one minute she's saying stuff like, if I leave, I can never come back and, you know, she's going to sort of disown me and she's going to disinherit me and stuff like that. And then the next minute she said, oh, she, you know, because I said when we talked about me leaving, like a bit later on, I'd say stuff like, you know, but you said I can't come back or whatever, and she's going to disown me. And she said, oh no, I was just saying all that because obviously I'm scared, I don't want you to leave. So again, I suppose more sort of manipulation. More emotional manipulation. Which is basically if you leave, you can never come back, and I'm going to disinherit you, and all these threats. And that's basically threats and emotional manipulation to try and scare me into staying or guilt trip me into staying. So basically, I don't actually know what would happen if I left, so I'd have to take a chance, I guess. But yeah, I decided to do it anyway, and she sort of... yeah, I don't know what she'd do. So I have no idea if she's going to disown me, if I'll be able to ever come back, if we'll be in touch or not. Because she kept saying about how she wants to go more places, and this, that, the other. And obviously she thinks that's not going to happen if I leave, but it won't if she disowns me. If we're still in each other's lives after I leave, then obviously I'd still come back and visit, and we could still go out places and stuff. And I'd still come home for birthdays and Christmases. But obviously if she disowns me and says I can never come back and she wants nothing to do with me, then obviously that's the end, and, you know, basically I've kind of lost a mother and she's lost her child. Surely she doesn't want that, so I am inclined to believe, even though she, you know, since she said that she was bluffing, she said once again that she'll disown me and disinherit me. She said sort of that kind of stuff since. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know which it's going to be. At all protected. Is that it? Right. I don't know why she's kept the... Are you kidding? Oh, what are they called? Is that it? Just one? Oh no, there's two in there. I don't know. I guess she didn't buy any. Frank person. I'm sick of him as well, because all he wants to go on about is his fetish and all. Another one who expects me to sort of kowtow to their fetish and go along with theirs, but not even offering to kind of do mine. Do mine. That's what I don't like about these people. These fetish people is they're selfish and they want me to sort of cater to their fantasies and fetishes. But they don't seem to be interested in, like, mine in any way. I don't like people who just want to talk about that one thing. And act like that's all they care about. Like, they don't really care about me or like me for me. They just want me to be, as one person put it, a fetish dispenser. Or kink dispenser. Can't remember which one it was now. But either way, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I object to. I don't mind talking about stuff, but I don't want that to be the be all and end all of the conversation. It's like there's this one guy, right, and I keep trying to talk about other things, and we kind of talk about other things to a certain extent, but he'll keep turning the conversation back to a certain kink or fetish. And it's like we've just talked about that, and it's like there's nothing really much to say about that. Like, I want to talk about this now. But the conversation keeps being turned back to a certain thing, and it's like, at least with my kinks and fetishes, you can keep talking about it, and it's interesting. Because it's more story driven rather than just one, like, obsession with one body part or something. Or just them wanting to do it to just anybody who's sort of willing. Whereas with me, it's characters doing it to other characters. Like, yeah, I wanna live out my fantasies, I guess, but it's more, I don't know. It's different anyway. Because I guess it's better with me because he can talk about anything and not just that stuff. But with these people, it feels like you can only, like, it's almost like they've got like a very low IQ. It's like, you know, all they can talk about is this one thing, like a baby or a child. Heck, you can have a better conversation with a child than you can with these people. But yeah, it just feel like they're very low IQ because they won't talk about anything else. This person seems like dead intelligent though. It's a shame, but they act like they're one of those low IQ people that only wants to talk about the one thing. I just want to be nice and treat you like a human being. Oh, thank you. I don't mind talking about this stuff, but I'd rather not talk about it. Like, I don't know, certain things that I'm not interested in, I guess. It's almost like they don't respect me, you know. They just think of me as this, I don't know, object. This thing that's just going to, that they can talk about their fetishes with, and is going to make their fetish things, fantasies and ideas come true. But they don't really care about me as a person. They're not interested in me as a person, my thoughts, feelings, and, you know, what I want to talk about. So that's why I don't generally like talking about, I don't really like talking to, you know, kink people, because it just becomes too excessive and creepy and weird to me when they act like that. I just like someone who, because to me the kinks themselves are not weird as such, as in they don't make the person weird. The thing that makes the person weird is that that's all they want to talk about, and they don't even know if you are into it, or if it's kind of evident that you're not into it and you don't want to talk about it, but they keep insist on doing it anyway. Yeah, it's kind of just like, no. I just want these people to just talk to me like a normal person, like on any other platform, or like dating apps or sites or whatever. It's like you talk to a person about anything and everything. They just happen to also be into these weird kinks. But with a lot of these people, I just find that that's all they want to talk about. and it just becomes very repetitive and boring. I'm just uncomfortable anyway. Well, yes, last year was different. I didn't have to deal with people like that. Because, you know, I had a boyfriend, so I could just focus on that. There is much more in life. I don't mind talking about them. But I don't like talking about them as if that they expect me to fulfill them. I guess I don't mind them just talking to me about them in general, like what they're into. But when they start talking about it as if they expect me to fulfill them, that's when I draw the line. Unless I specifically say, oh yeah, I'm into that too. I mean, I did kind of make the mistake with one guy saying I like the idea of something he was talking about. And then, of course, that's all he wants to talk about, as in he expects me to, like, do it for real. Like, now. So basically what it is, right, this guy was talking about, like, that he's into cuckolding or whatever. And I said, you know, maybe I could do that, like, one day if we're in a relationship. But he was acting like he wants me to do it right now, you know. We're not in a relationship, we were just talking, getting to know each other. But it got to a point where that's all he wanted to talk about, as in, not scenarios of other people, but he actually wanted, he kept, like, acting as if he wanted me to, right, so, it was, like, asking, for instance, he was asking me, like, you know, am I talking to anyone else at the moment? Or am I meeting up with anyone else? Have I met up with anyone else? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I said, not really. And he was like, well, if you ever do meet up with anyone, you know, could you perhaps take a video? So basically he wanted cuckolding in the sense of he wanted, I guess he wants to pretend we're together, because the only way I could cuckold him is if we're together and we're not together. But basically what he wants is, he wants me to basically make a video of me having sex with blokes I meet up with. And it's like, you do realise I don't have sex with these people that I meet up with. I literally just meet these people to hang out, to have a normal date, as in go for a meal, and maybe go for a walk afterwards, or do something else. I don't have sex with these people. I don't have sex with people I have just met, or that I don't know very well. And I'm very frickin' picky as well. I'm very selective and very picky on who I would do that with. And so far, I don't like any of them. The good-looking ones are all just looking for no strings attached fun, as they call it. And all the ugly ones are just they're kind of willing to get to know you and stuff, but I don't know, they're still creepy and weird in some other way. So I feel like the good-looking ones are sort of more predatory, because all they want is sex, and, you know, that's it. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that with someone I've just met. And there's loads of reasons why, because I don't even get it. I don't even get why people do that. I don't even understand why anybody would want to have sex with someone that they've just met and they know nothing about. Like, surely, you know, it's probably going to feel great at the time, but then afterwards, the come down is going to be awful, because what do you get out of it? Nothing. You've just had sex with this random stranger one time, then they leave, and you're like, what was that all about then? You know, you're kind of left with the come down, which you'd get probably anyway, because apparently you do get that, but, you know, you've had this wonderful sexual experience, and then afterwards it's like a big come down. But imagine just someone leaves straight after, like you've just had this meaningless fling. You've had this wonderful time, but then afterwards it's like, ugh. Like, the emotions are just going to be like, you're just going to feel depressed, it's going to be awful. I don't know how people could do it. They have nothing else. That's probably why a lot of these women keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And even the men, because it's like, okay, they've done it with one person, and afterwards they feel unfulfilled and depressed, so they go out and do it with someone else because they want to keep that high going. But unfortunately, it's just, I just don't think it would feel as good as it would if you're in a relationship and you've had sex with someone who really likes you and loves you and cherishes you. Because then after you've had this wonderful, explosive, pleasurable experience, afterwards you've got someone to cuddle you and hold you and tell you how wonderful you are and how much they like you and love you. Maybe they'll give you breakfast in bed, you know, whatever, you know, they're there. You've got the feelings afterwards that you know that you're loved and that you love them. You feel safe and secure and lovely, and you know that you can have sex with that person, have this wonderful climactic experience as many times as you want. Can't do that with a one-night stand. It's just like, oh well, that's over and done with, now I feel shit. And I haven't got this loving relationship to sort of fall back on now. It's just me alone again. Or empty, unfulfilled, blah blah blah, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, it is. I think so. Not that I've ever done it, because filling a void thinking it's the adult thing to do. There is also addiction aspect to sex. Exactly. And they all know that with addiction, when you get your first high, it's wonderful. And then afterwards, you're kind of on a low again. So of course you're craving that feeling again. So you go and chase after that feeling again, just like with any drug. Even love. That's one of them, by the way. So you go chase after it again, this wonderful, marvellous, ecstatic feeling. Then apparently the second time you do it, it's not as good. It doesn't give you the same high as the first time. But you're still addicted to it, so you keep chasing that first high. You're in this terrible cycle and loop of chasing that very first time, that very first high. And every time you do it, the high gets lower and lower and lower until eventually it's just like, it's not doing it anymore. But now I'm really addicted. I really need to get it. I need to get it. I need to, you know, it's like it's that, isn't it? I'm not an addictive personality, but I have felt like that before. And not everyone wants or is into sex. I am very awkward and sex, and rather not dwell with awkward with sex. Sorry, not dwell on it. Instead, focus on things that make me happy. Addiction to chocolate will grow. Ugh, I'm allergic to chocolate. Not good for me to get addicted to it. Luckily, I'm not addicted to anything. Hooray. Obviously, I have had urges. I do have urges. I do want to have sex. I want to do sexual things. Although I'd actually rather do like foreplay things like kissing, touching, and oral sex, as in receiving, not giving, unless it's a girl. I do not fancy sucking a dick, sorry. But unfortunately, I will not ask anyone to give me oral sex, because I'm a bit awkward about it for a start. And secondly, I know that if I ask for it, they're going to expect something in return of the equal equivalent. And it's like, no, gross, sorry. So that's why I could never get my sexual needs fulfilled, like ever, because people expect you to give in return, don't they? And I'm just not willing to. So unfortunately, I'm in this sort of perpetual limbo of never getting what I want, because basically I know that they'll want stuff in return, stuff that I'm just not willing to give. So yeah, so that's pretty much my hell. That's my hell, is never getting what I want in life, because unfortunately, to get it, some, you know, people would expect the equivalent, so in return. So yeah, it's a bit hard for me, I guess. So yeah, and that is the story of true hell, and yeah, it's like, you see, right, I don't fear hell because I'm already there. It is tragic, I know. It is tragic. I mean, kudos, how you say it. Kudos to all these people who are like willing to do all this gross, weird stuff. Sure, they live very fulfilling lives. Kinda. I mean, there are so many ways to have sex. Main thing that both are on the same level and likes it. Well, I am too scared because of all the risks as well. That's another factor. And see, I'm only willing to possibly take that risk for somebody that, you know, that actually loves me and likes me and is gonna stay with me, and I equally love and like and want to be with. I'm not willing to risk STDs and pregnancy and all that stuff for some random fucking stranger. That's another reason why I find it dumb, especially women who have more risk. There's more risk for women with having casual sex than men. Men can't get pregnant or get polyps or cervical cancer, so they're alright, Jack. They're just the spreaders of disease. They don't have the benefits of the disease. Opposite of benefits, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm gonna say benefits because I don't really know the opposite word. Scared. It is, but I sometimes feel like I'm being too risky and I'm just gonna end up like life's gonna pass me by and I'm just gonna miss out. I do feel like that as well sometimes. I feel like just like I say, I'm gonna miss out before I have a chance to do it. So I do kind of get pissed off at myself that I'm so cautious and scared, because I'm like, what if I do it and nothing happens and it's a wonderful experience, but I've just missed out on that. So I also think that too. So yeah, more perpetual hell. Perpetual hell. It's clearly the risk takers probably, obviously if it goes well for them, they got all the benefits of their taken risks. So that is the problem. I kind of know how these incels and shit feel. I feel like I'm an incel, but it's like of my own choosing. And I know that that kind of contradicts the whole incel, because it's involuntary, whereas mine's kind of voluntary. But I feel like it's not voluntary because I do want sex. I feel like I do want it but can't get it because I can't get a relationship. And I feel like in order to have that, the sex, I have to be in a relationship first. But it's that I can't achieve. It's the relationship part I can't achieve. So it feels like I'm still being stopped from having sex like an incel. It still feels like, somebody else is kind of like the gatekeeper of it still. It's like, yeah, I mean, I could just probably go out on the street and look at a guy and say, hey, let's have sex right now, come on, come in, and he'd probably be like, yeah, let's do it, I could probably fucking do that if I wanted to. I could probably just contact some random person and just be like, yeah, I want to have sex right now, and they'd be like, yeah, where do you live? Right, come in, or come to my house or whatever. Like, I could probably do that. Yeah. Risky, like I say. It's so funny. It's so funny. Obviously, incels couldn't probably do that. They'd probably get locked up if they did that. Find long-lasting relationships. I don't know about any of that stuff, but I just find it hard to find someone in the first place. Because all they want is sex. See, the problem is all the hot guys, they just want no strings attached sex. And well, I'm not into ugly guys, so sorry. I may be typical like all these incels and red pill people on McTowers say. But yeah, can't have sex with someone I'm not physically attracted to either. So yeah, I'm physically attracted to the hot guys, but they don't want to commit. They don't want the emotions. They don't want the relationship. And the hot guy, the less hot guys, probably want the relationship, but unfortunately, they also want sex. So it's like, well, I don't want to have sex with the ugly guys, and I have to like really get to know, like if it's someone's average, so decent looking but not hot, I could probably possibly do things with them, but I'd have to know them for a while and have like a deeper connection first. But of course they don't want to do that either, because they don't want to wait, because they, as they've told me, they say, well, sex is the most important thing ever, so you know, even in a relationship. So yeah, that's all theirs attitudes anyway. So the problem with hot guys is that sex is all they want, and the problem with average to ugly guys that want the relationship, they, according to them, sex is still the most important thing, so they'd rather do that first and then develop the relationship. And I'm like, no, I want to do it the opposite way around, and I want you to prove that you actually like me for more than just sex first. And it's like, oh, fuck this. It's too complicated. It shouldn't be this fucking complicated. In movies, it's so uncomplicated. Boy meets girl, they have a relationship, sex is not even involved in these romantic comedies. Why can't the world be like that? You know, sex is the result of people falling in love and being together first, in a relationship first. But in real life, they all want to have that up front. It's like, we've got to have sex first. So it just puts me off, unfortunately. But I've got another guy right now that's all like that, and that's what they've been saying. I'm like, well, you've got to understand that, you know, sex is still the most important thing ever to guys, even if we want a relationship. And I'm like, no, I know, it's no big secret. But the problem is you have to at least pretend that you want me for more than just sex first, and build a fucking bond and trust first. It's so fucking simple, but they just don't get it. They just have this idea of women that, oh yeah, they're the gatekeepers of sex, and they won't have sex with average guys, and they only want to have sex with 6 foot tall chads and all this shit. It's like, not true, but you have to at least pretend you like us first before we'll do it with a more average guy. Duh. Well, I'd rather not the pretend thing, but you know what I mean. You have to, you know, treat a woman like a human being first and foremost, rather than a sexual object. If you just come at a woman just saying, right, let's have sex, let's have sex, let's have sex, you know, sex is the most important thing to a man, sex is the most important thing to a man, you've got to understand this, women, you've got to understand it, you've got to understand, and trying to ram it down your throat, you know. That's what they're like, that's what they're saying. It's like, well, we know that, it's no big mystery. People have known it for centuries, so I don't know why you're saying it. But you've got to, like, treat us good first. You've got to take us on fucking dates. And you can't expect it either. Like, you can't expect it as the reward. You've just got to be patient and actually treat someone like a human being first. Have conversations, have deep, meaningful conversations. But if at any point it's evident that you're only doing these things to get in their pants, then of course they're going to be fucking put off. It is horrible. It's pretty horrible. But yeah, that's all it's about. And all these people are even, just like I say, even pretending just to get in someone's past, and that's obviously not acceptable either. And if that's all it's about, then, you know, I'm out. If people are only doing anything nice for me to get in my pants, then that's horrible. Really gets flawed. So this is the story of why I want to opt out of the human race and become a McTow myself. Become a McTow myself. I'm going to become a McTow myself. I am on the verge. I'd rather just, make a bunch of really good friends that don't expect sex from me, that are genuine, who actually like me for me and want to talk. Well, like I say, we can talk about sex, but as long as it's not like, we're going to do it one day, sort of talk about sex. I don't mind talking to people about anything as long as I'm not expected to do anything. It's like lately I've been offered places to stay, and I just wonder sometimes if, that's what they're expecting in return. I know it sounds dumb, but I'd be safer with girls. I feel like I'd be safer with girls. I mean, I know they can be just as shit sometimes, but I do feel like I would. But unfortunately, they don't seem to want to talk to me either. I have the same problem with girls as a lot of guys do, where they don't talk, they don't message back or anything. Or they'll message you, but they don't consistently message you, so they'll go silent. I had a couple of successful whatsits with girls one time, but they kind of ended up being really annoying. With one girl, it was obvious that she just wanted me to sort of come back to her place so that I could. In fact, this seems to be the deal with quite a lot of girls on these fetish sites, is that they all just want. What they want. They want to get another girl to have sex with their husbands. That's what they want. That has been my experience with the majority of girls that seem to be quite enthusiastic about talking to me on these fetish sites. That has been an observation I have made. Yeah. So it's either they want money from you, gift cards or whatever, or they want you to come back to have sex with their husbands. So yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't really want to take up their offers of living with them. It's a conundrum because I don't really like the idea of living on my own. Because if it's hard, there's no one to turn to, there's no one to lean on. But if I live with someone that I don't really know very well, there is this, worry that they might want something in return. I'm not saying they'd rape me, but they might, they might kind of say, well, they might hint at it, or they might say, well, I've offered you a place to stay, and in return, I want this arrangement to happen. And then if you kind of refuse, I'm not saying they'd rape me, but I'm saying that they might sort of kick me out or something. I don't know. I don't know what would happen, but it is a concern. I've seen it happen actually on a lot of these reality programs called My £600 Life, where there have been these women who have kind of had these guys offer them a place to stay, and the guy who reviews these videos says that they're probably having sex in return for having a place to stay. But yeah, there was this one girl that was interested in me, but she kind of went quiet on me after a while. This was 2 years ago as well. She went quiet on me after a while, and this was because she wanted. It's a funny thing really, because I told her why I couldn't go to her, but she didn't tell me why she couldn't come to me, and she wanted me to go to her. It's like, you know, she didn't have an excuse. But yeah, for some reason she wasn't happy about coming to me and she just wanted me to go to her. So I said, no, can do. And she kind of went off the idea after that. And she went silent for a while, and then after a while she came to me and said, you know, she kept bragging about how she had a boyfriend, then she broke up with him, and now she had a girlfriend, and she was like bragging about how they're like really great and stuff to me, and it's like, great, thanks. Boss, you need to make the House Loves community with like-minded people that is safe environment, people you know to live with together. Yeah, the problem with that is I'm not meeting anyone fast enough, and you know, I don't have anyone, like a lot of people right now that I've known for a while, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of hard. The only ones I know is like you and Sean and Dean, and I've not really known them for a long time. And Becky's and stuff, but they seem to have their own lives. They seem to be quite stuck in their ways as well. I'm not sure they would want to do it, but you never know. Becky number 2 is busy with her high-flying career. She has like a lot of success when it comes to finding partners, because she'll like break up with one and then like 2 weeks later she'll have another one. So quite jealous of these people. I knew people like it. I had a cousin the same. He would have a relationship, break up, and then the next thing he'd be with another one, and then they'd break up, and then the next minute they'd be with another one, and so on and so forth. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? They're what I call real life Jeremiahs. They're quite the playboys / girls. I don't know how they do it. I guess luck. This is how I think of it, you see. I think it's just luck of the draw. I've always thought that way. Some people just, you know, get where they want to get, and others don't. Some people get rich, some people don't. No matter what they do, it doesn't matter. First of all, the sound of the microwave reminds me of how I wanna try a microwave ice cream. That sounds like a great idea. I don't know. Nobody's taken an interest in this community of House of Fluff, so I don't know. The people in my life I don't 100% trust right now because I don't know them very well, and I have learnt that even those people, even though I actually met them outside of kink communities, it turned out they had kinks as well. You know, they're into some kinks, and they don't seem to be, even though like we've met out in the wild in normal situations, for some reason they're not shy about sharing these kinks and fetishes with me. And it does feel like they're kind of hinting at wanting some kind of arrangement with me where I fulfill their their kinks. I'm not saying they're like completely untrustworthy though. It might just be a case of doing that, but you know, I'd rather know them a bit more first and actually develop a kind of relationship, as in friendship relationship first. That's my trouble, you see. Finding people who don't have agendas. I only know 2 people really right now. I mean, outside of YouTube. I don't really think you guys have any agendas, by the way. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm talking about like kind of real life. Kinda. I only know 2 people right now that kind of they don't seem to have agendas. They seem to like me for me and actually want my well-being. But that's just two people. I'm just not sure they'd be into the idea of this House of Fluff thing. This community. I don't know. Like, again, I don't know. What was that? No idea. Thought my mum was in the room for a minute there. I don't know what that was. I looked immediately and I saw us, it was still making a noise when I was looking, and I didn't see anything falling down. So anyway, yeah, so I really need like more people interested in this House of Fluff idea, and obviously I'm gonna need them to help finance it, because it would be a case of buying like a big place somewhere and forming a community. But yeah, I just don't know enough people that I trust, like an inner circle kind of thing. I just never been able to accumulate that yet. Right, I'm gonna have to go now because I've got to, get changed and stuff. But I'll talk to you guys later. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, supportive of you. That's good. There's an old saying: everyone gets a deck of cards handed to them after born. Some has good cards and others have bad. The meaning of life is trying to learn to play your hand. Problem is I don't know how to do that, because I don't really know what to do for the best, as you know. Not as you know, I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say, I don't know. Internet connection goes to die, I suppose. Yes, please support me. I like receiving comments afterwards as well. Boy, do you think these